Live in 2. Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Parent-Teen Connection. My name is Rachel Eastop. I am a counselling psychotherapist and this is my son, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam is a budding actor. He's a singer. He's the lead singer of a band called Trading Glances. If you want to check them out, how do they check out Trading Glances, Sam?
Well, we've got a song on Spotify. That's probably like a good place to start. Just type in Trading Glances on Spotify. Single, who would have thought, is there. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff as well.
Okay. So their single, Who Would Have Thought, which is really good, is that's genuinely really good. So check that out. And there's a new single due out soon. Watch this space. We'll let you know more next week, hopefully. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about how little teenagers sleep. And sleep is a massive issue when young people come to me for counselling. And part of that, there's twofold really. One is maybe what's going on in their minds, their anxiety, their low mood, their FOMO, fear of missing out, all kinds of things that keep young people from sleeping and having a good night's sleep. There's also the time of night that they might eventually fall asleep. Now, these things are quite key. And obviously, there's a third thing, which is the phone. Okay. And I believe that parents think this plays a bigger part in the lack of sleep than maybe it actually does. And we're going to discuss this. Okay. So first of all, let's look at hours of sleep. All right. So it's a kind of almost been, it's been so researched how many hours teenagers need per night. We can pretty much pin it down now. Do you know how many hours of sleep a teenager should be getting?
A teenager, 9, 8.
Yeah, but not between 9 and 10 hours sleep a night, which is huge.
That is, you've got what, 14 hours of the day left?
Yeah, right. Now, some of the reason for that is the brain development. We've talked about how dynamically the brain develops and changes during adolescence and how important sleep is to help with that, to help the brain restore, to help the brain's neuroplasticity, to digest the day, think about what's going on, grow, stuff like that. But also, if you think about when you get up for school, so what time did you get up for school? Bearing in mind, Sam lived about 5 minutes away from his high school. But how early did you have to get up?
This is weird. I think I maybe got up like 50 minutes before I needed to leave, and I left with like 10 minutes before I needed to get there. So like at a push 25 minutes before school started. That's how early I got up. Because that was like basically especially for the last like 3 years, I was like verging on being late every single day. But I didn't.
Okay. So you got up, say, half an hour before you had to be at school.
Do you remember what time my school started? Because I can't remember it.
No,
I can't remember
10 to 9.
I think it was maybe
9 o'clock.
It was before 9. I think it was maybe like 22 or 1:45. So I probably left. I was like maybe like half past. Do you know what I mean? Like I probably left it under 10 minutes.
So let's say, for argument's sake, you got up at 8:15.
Yeah.
For argument's sake, right?
Yeah.
So if you go back 10 hours from 8:15, what's that?
This is fun because everyone's going to have to watch us try and do maths. It's 10:15, isn't it? 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's 10:15 at night.
10:15 at night.
Yeah.
On his fingers, he counted that. So would I have done, actually, to be fair. 10:15
actually, I did it in my head and then confirmed on my fingers, but yeah.
Okay. So 10:15 at night. Were you ever asleep, whether you're in bed or not?
Absolutely
asleep
not.
At 10:15 at night, right?
No.
And you're somebody who would have got up later than some teenagers who might have to get up at 6
almost
in the
every
morning.
teenager. Yeah.
So, you'd have to be sound asleep by anything between 9 o'clock at night and 10:15. Okay. And the chances of that happening are 0. So already a teenager is at a disadvantage sleep-wise.
Yeah.
Now, the natural clock, we've said this before, haven't we, about the natural time that you would fall asleep naturally might be 12, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But also, if you've got anxiety and you're lying awake in the bed trying to get to sleep, you might not actually fall asleep from exhaustion until about 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So you're looking at 5 hours sleep, 4 or 5 hours sleep if you're lucky. And if you continually have that day in, day out, those kind of figures, there's going to be a detriment to your ability to learn, to concentrate, to even get up in the morning in the first place, to be able to not be feeling sleepy in the afternoon. And there's the added thing about how much caffeine young people are having to put in their bodies in order to keep themselves awake. So there have been trials. I'm looking at a report here on the computer that happened in America, obviously. But basically it said that there have been advantages and disadvantages to doing one particular thing that might help. Okay. And that is not starting school at 9 in the morning, but starting it at either 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So tell me about that. If you didn't need to be in school until 10 as opposed to 9 or even 11, how would that have benefited you, do you think?
I definitely would have got more sleep because I was going to bed later, It also probably would have meant I was more awake for like when you were in your first class. Because like now, me thinking about me sitting in like double English or something at higher from like before 9 o'clock in the morning until like 11 just baffles me. Like I don't know how the hell I did that. Like I genuinely can't tell you how I got through that. So I don't know. Like I think by 11 o'clock, especially, I would have been ready to be like right school. Do you know what I mean? Rather than like which is what I was probably like. When I was in it. Literally. It's a walking shell of myself who's not awake, which is why like kids would like go to, for us it was Rajas or whatever, and go and get a can of energy juice because like you just can't expect someone to be on full focus at that time in the morning without either coffee or caffeine or something. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't expect adults to get up and like be totally fine without coffee. So why can't kids have coffee? Do you know what I mean? Especially if they're like, younger than adults and not ready for that. Just abrupt hit of having to focus at like 9 in the morning. It just doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. Yes, you get to finish at like 4 or whatever, or 3. I'm pretty sure we finished at like before 4, didn't we?
Yeah,
can't remember.
You did.
It was like 3:55 or something like that. I don't know. But and that means you have like a lot of the evening, but like still if you come home at like 5 or like 4:30, then you still got most of the evening and you're in time for dinner. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. And actually I suppose you made a comment that, if adults can be drinking caffeine, why can't teenagers? But actually, it is quite alarming how much of the country is running on caffeine, generally.
Like, we are like slaves to coffee, aren't we? And I'm saying that.
This is a herbal drink, actually.
I'm saying that about taking a drink of coffee. I'm very aware of that. But like anyone who knows me knows I didn't drink coffee until about like 3 months ago. But I only started drinking coffee because I was going to work and being like, I can't keep drinking these energy drinks. I need to drink something else. And like I just go into these coffee places and asking for basically something that didn't taste like coffee, but it have the effects of coffee with extra sugar syrup in it. So that's like wine I run on. And like, how many people will have like 3 Starbucks in a day, or like a Starbucks and then go home and have 2 coffees? You do that, don't you? You have like a Starbucks something, then maybe have like a coffee at home or something like that. Yeah. So
I might have. We're running on caffeine. We're running on caffeine, and our teenagers are running on caffeine.
But you can get addicted to caffeine, can you? It's an addictive substance.
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So there we are. So the benefit that you said that you would have is that you would feel rested, more alert, ready for action, ready for the school. And if it meant that you had to stay in school slightly later, it's not a big deal, because what would that be? 5, 6 o'clock, 5:30. You know, it's not actually really into the evening. We're still late afternoon at that time.
Yeah.
So, but there are actually studies have revealed and showed us what the benefits of the advantages and disadvantages of staying starting school later. And the interesting thing is, so let me just read out a few here. We've got improved alertness, memory, attention, and cognitive processing skills, improved academic performance, reduced tiredness, truancy, and dropout rates, more sleep per night, reduced depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. So they're actually putting it down to also that the depression and anxiety. So young people are telling me that they're experiencing depression and anxiety, and this research is showing us that depression and anxiety are a byproduct of not getting enough sleep. So
Yeah.
improved athletic performance, reduced risk of obesity and eating disorders and diabetes, improved mood impulse control, stronger immune system, reduced risk of stimulant and other substance abuse and high risk health behaviors, reduced delinquency. I hate that word. Fewer car crashes,
Oh wow.
and better psychomotor performance. So that these are the benefits. They're massive, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. I mean, like, human beings sleep for a reason. It's not just because, that's how we're built. It's like we sleep to all of those things, to digest food, to improve everything, focus, attention, athleticism, rest your body and your muscles and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's a reason for it. But then, like, teenagers just don't want to do it. They're like, we play games all night and then watch YouTube and have 3 hours sleep. That was me. I'm aware. But then I remember distinctly when I was like 17, 18, I hit like a thing where I was like, love sleep. Sleep is the thing. Sleep is the sleep. Like, it was like a thing. Like, I was just like, I used to hate it. And then I was like, I need sleep all the time. And I loved it. And it was like really weird when I like had that change of being like, I don't want to sleep, to then being like, guys, I can't play games till 11. I need my sleep. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a weird thing. And like a lot of my mates are like that at that stage now. Like, I've got a mate that will be like, I need to have 8 hours sleep. Like, I'm not going to get up. Or like, I'm sorry, I can't do meet at 10 because I need my sleep and I'm not going to get to bed till 1ish. And like, so like, and I'm not taking the piss out of him because it's legit. Like, it's like, it's total like natural healthy thing to have that as well. And also I remember in school, we sat down and, we had like houses, and the house leader teacher, I can't remember what it was called, but we had like a guidance teacher, like a teacher for that house. They sat us down one time in our assembly, and she literally just like, she literally told us to sleep. Like, she was like, you need to sleep more. And she was like, and one of the main things that she actually, you mentioned it in that list, was weight loss. It helps with weight loss. Like, she was like, if you're putting on the pounds and stuff like that, like, if you sleep 9 hours a day, your body's burning calories, baby. And we were all like, I was like, whoa, what? I had no idea. And I was like, this is mad. So yeah, like, I remember like schools are kind of, I mean, I think our school is aware of the benefits and the side effects and all that kind of stuff. So they were trying to tell us back like 4 or 5 years ago that we should sleep more. So, and I remember being like, "What? That's really weird." But yeah, it just makes sense. It's good for you, doesn't it?
Yes, the fact that so many of your friends of your age, and including yourself, are now saying, "Do you know what? I just want more sleep now."
Yeah.
That's called adulthood. Because
Yeah,
that's you transitioning now into adult years. Because the rest
luckily,
of
I'm
us
not
are
in the
like,
stage where you are, where like you fall asleep at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock hits and it's boom out.
I know, sad but true. Yes, that's the first thing. Secondly, yeah, your teacher was absolutely right. Get more sleep. But what we've just said is that it's so difficult to just do that, because how do you do that? Oh, I'll just fall asleep at 9 o'clock at night.
I will just
Not
go
going to
to
happen.
sleep at this exact time at 9:37. That's exactly no, you won't. Like that's a school system, though, isn't it? They just ask for way too much. Like it's like when you get into like the later years, every teacher goes, "I expect you to be doing 2 hours of homework a night for this class." You've got 7 classes. Like, how are you supposed to be doing that? You know, it's ridiculous. The expectations of kids and teenagers is unbelievable, unreasonable, unrealistic. You know, it's just like you can't do 2 hours of homework every night for every class, and every teacher's asking for that. Like, how the hell are you supposed to do that? It's just not possible.
Well, now we're on to a different subject of the value of homework or not, as the case may be. And many parents say, look, school is for schoolwork. Kids need to do other things when they're not at school, which is spend time with their family, spend time with their friends, have a sport, have an interest. And actually, I agree with that, because if you can't teach it, I know homework is reinforcing what's already been taught, but actually you're done at the end of the day. It's like, I just don't want to do any more of this. Because it's just an extension of school in a different venue, and you need to have balance in your life.
Homework is such an outdated thing. Like, it has to be. Like, I understand revision and revising and studying for exams, but if you're literally sending kids home with like homework every day, like if they're already stressed out from school, like sending them home with school stuff is gonna not help them be rested or calm in their safe space, which is their home or their room or their bed or whatever, because they've just got more like school stuff lingering in their bag. So like, it's just not like, there's nothing about it that ever makes me think, oh, homework is a good thing. And that's like not just me being like, I didn't like doing homework, but like I just don't think it's a good thing like at all for kids or teenagers or anything like that, because it's just, I don't know, like just give them the work in school. You know what I mean? And I understand that like it kind of prepares you for college and stuff, because a lot of college, especially college, also uni, was like like self-study, like self-taught stuff, which
self-directed learning.
sense. Yeah, self-directed learning. That's a really good way of putting it. But like I was in college 2.5 days a week. And I was studying HNC and HND. Even in HND, it was still 2.5 days a week, because their schedule was like, we cannot have you for any longer than that. It wasn't like you're expected to do just 2.5 days and then go away and do it all. It's because they couldn't get us in the building because their schedule, you know, they had like 7 different classes and like, you know, different levels to teach and all that kind of stuff. So, so yeah, we literally had to like come in 2.5 days a week and then go home and do work 2.5 days a week. Granted, in my first year, I didn't do that. And then I learnt my lesson for the second year, but yeah, and like that prepared me for uni when I went into uni, and that was in third year, and I was doing everything at home. But that as I've touched on this before, I think I've mentioned that I had like no social life for like the first trimester of uni, like that first semester or whatever. I just didn't do anything other than like I was just busy all the time. I don't think I got enough sleep either, but I tried, because that was the age where I was like, sleep is good sleep friend. But yeah.
How did you feel about having like a power nap in the afternoon? You know, we put babies down in the afternoon, just so they can.
The Spanish know, man. They know. They get it.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that their skills break up and then they go home to sleep and then come back again, like that is mad. I find that ridiculous. And also, like, what time do they start school? Because they start earlier to allow for that, but they also finish really late, so they can't start that early. Otherwise, you're in school literally all day. Do you know what I mean? Because like they come home for like an hour and a half.
Becky would know.
Yeah, that's true.
What time
they eat at 10
start?
o'clock, don't they? Eat at like 10, 11 o'clock because they have that nap and then they come home really late, so they can't go in that early. Like maybe they go in at like 10 or something like that. I don't know. But like that is like, I don't know how Britain would take that as people. Like if you sent them home to sleep, they'd be like, you can't tell me what to do. Like, do you know what I mean? Rather than being like, we shall go to sleep. It's just like not in our DNA.
But half the kids in the UK wouldn't go back in the afternoon.
Yeah, 100%. Like
I slept in.
It's a miracle that you can get kids to school in the first place. Like if you're getting them to school and then send them home again, and then trying to get them to come back, they're gonna be like, no,
no,
absolutely
I've done
not.
that already. I've been in.
I know. But like,
anyway,
it's just generally a thought. Sorry, that I had recently.
Sorry.
You know how like everyone's doing online learning at the minute, like everyone.
Yeah.
Like how, like, what's the word I'm looking for? How realistic is it that could maybe happen and keep going even in a non-pandemic world? Do you know what I mean? So like, how realistic is it that you could get on kids staying at home? So even if like you start kind of early, as long as you don't have to get up and like get changed and present themselves and then get to school, which is a lot of kids' worries. Like I was lucky that I could just like wait 10 minutes before, but if people are like traveling in for like half an hour commute or whatever, like that's also really cutting into their sleep time. So like the fact that people, especially in uni, like I just see loads of memes about it, even though I'm not in uni anymore. But and I luckily missed the whole online learning thing. But people are like me rolling out of bed like 3 minutes from my lecture and like logging onto Zoom and stuff, like looking like a witch or something like that. You know what I mean? Because they can just do that. But like, is that a possibility? Do you think for schools to start doing that? Obviously, you'd have to have like the thing they do where it's like camera, I'm here, miss, all that kind of stuff or whatever, like to make sure they actually are there and like paying attention, listening. But like, do you think that's possible? I don't know.
Well, I think that the important thing that might be missed in that is that we need to be we benefit better, we learn better when we're actually in the same room with people. You know, there's something about community. Something is lost, I think, of having there's a sort of disconnect. We talked about this before. There's although I can see you, this is quite an intense scenario, and you know, for children who've got ants in their pants and like to move about and actually plays. And so for the younger ones, there's a whole kind of play scenario. There's needing to get up and move about. It's a different style of teaching. Secondary school, maybe. Secondary school, the older ones, maybe. A bit more self-directed
I was mainly
learning
meaning,
and stuff like that.
high school stuff, because I don't think you can do that. Like, I know the struggle that teachers go through to get those kids to pay attention, like kids to pay attention. Like if they're like 7, 6, and you're trying to be like, everyone, look at me, don't look at out the window at the man. Like, look at, you know what I mean? Like they're just, that's ridiculously hard. But like I think in high school, the only classes that would actually struggle, like genuinely, the only classes that would struggle or like not be 100% for this kind of stuff would be drama and music. The only ones, because they're ones you need to have people together. Like you can maybe play music together online, but like you said earlier, there's a delay. Like you're hearing me like a second or two like behind. If you're trying to play music at the same time, you're like, wait, where are we? Like, because it's all on beats and counts, so it doesn't work. And drama, like you have to be, you know, up on your feet and together with people. Like you can do your best to like do warm ups and stuff or like on through Zoom or whatever, but you know, you need to be like together. But I think every other class, you're just sat on your arse like writing in a room together. It doesn't really make any difference, especially if there's like normally a kid that, like I remember sitting in history, right? I genuinely remember this. I remember sitting in history and there was a kid that thought he was cool and he would go, "Moo!" And then a person that I was friends with at the time, that I know still today, would go, "There's a cow in the class," like that, right? Because they were best pals and they thought it was funny. Not a single person laughed other than these two kids, right? And like, if that's happening in a classroom, I'm not getting. I remember sitting there, not paying attention to what the teacher was just saying, and just thinking, "Oh my god, who raised you? Like, who the hell raised you that you're doing that?" Right? I feel sorry for you as a human being. And then like that's all I was thinking. I was just like, I cannot believe these guys are doing that. I was so just like out of it. But if you're on Zoom, right, and the teacher can mute that person, then I'm going to be like more focused than in the classroom situation. You're not going to have all those distractions, all those people that will do the utmost to like try and disrupt teachers and the flow of a lesson, which happened all the time at my school, by the way, like all the time, because there's so many degenerate kids that went there. Sorry, that's annoying, but it's true. But yeah, like I think this could really help, because also like you kind of have to pay attention to this as well. Because in a room, you're in a room and I'm just kind of general listening or whatever and like looking over there. But like if I'm not looking at you, the teacher's gonna be like, "Sam," and I'm like, "Sorry, what?" Like I'm gonna be like looking. It's just I think it's a better setup for high schools. I really do.
Well, actually, I think
about, but
I know. But I think you make a good point in terms of people chatting, the teacher constantly having to act as a referee, saying, "Stop talking, take your coat off, sit down, take your book out." You know, this is going on all the time. Whereas you can see the person's face, and actually you could probably see them better than you would do normally, because you know that they're looking, you know that they're attentive.
Oh, so everyone gets good lighting going on and everything.
Yeah, that's
and you also like you can't, like you said with chatting, you can't chat. You can't just be like, hey Tom, you know, like what happened the other day? Like you can't do that. Like you, as soon as anyone talks, the teacher should be like, "I'm sorry, I'm talking," and like, but in class you could just be like. So I don't know. It just makes everything a bit. I think it makes it a bit clearer, but.
Maybe there will be a bit of research and the pros and cons of.
I hope there is.
Yeah, that'd be good. Anyway, so look, we've had a few comments, but I just wanted to, before I read the comments out, just tell you what this particular website. So it's a Master of Arts in Teaching. So it's about the disadvantages of starting school later. Okay. Now, I'm just going to read them out and just see what you notice about them. Okay. So there's school counties face administrative and operational pressures. Okay. 2, it becomes difficult to schedule sports and extracurricular activities. 3, a late start time will disrupt parents' schedules. 4, starting later in the day will affect the time available for after-school tutoring. Students and their families are already conditioned for an early bell. So what do you make of that?
I think I understand the parent disrupting the parents' schedule, but if you're talking about high school kids, like the majority of them are not getting lists from their mummy and daddy. Do you know what I mean? Like they're all walking or getting a bus or a taxi or whatever. Like I don't think I can name anyone that was in my year, even at fourth year, that was getting a lift from their parents. So you know it's also not up to the parents to get the kids up, which you would often do. I understand, I know, but because I was like, you know. It's not.
Do you know what I noticed? The big thing that stuck out for me was none of that is a disadvantage to the young people.
Exactly.
themselves.
That is the people that run schools, right? AKA old white people, like being like, this is not good for us. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we have to work later in the day, even though like, which is what every parent says that isn't a teacher, by the way. They get like 7 weeks holiday, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Even though they don't get paid.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
But it's just a bit like, really, you can't like, make your. I mean, like,
this is. I mean,
it's already an hour later, right? Can you not just make it like an hour later? Like, it's already an hour after school. Can you not make it just an hour later? Like, I don't think if you're starting an hour later in the morning, you get it back. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're extending the school hours.
I think if the list of pros far outweighs the list of cons, and pros is good.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, of course it does, but it hasn't happened yet, has it?
No, but the far outweighs the list of cons. The cons are all about other people and not young people, and let's not forget. And I think we do kind of forget that as far as education is concerned, their customer is the child.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel like that's not prioritized. I've worked in schools, and it feels like the least important person in that building are the pupils. Do you know what I mean? And I've actually heard teachers say, "Oh, it's great when we have a day without the kids." When it's an in-service day. Brilliant.
You're in the wrong profession.
Place is so
you're
great
literally in
kids.
the wrong profession. Like, I don't understand people can do that. Like, it just baffles me. Like, what the hell is the point in the school system? This is what I'm talking about. Like, no, the school system is just outdated. It just is. The entire school system is outdated. If teachers think that, right? If they had this, where they don't have to be in the vicinity, don't have to get all the coffee colds and all that kind of stuff, don't have to get like in their faces, don't have to deal with the rubbish that they put them through, it would just improve everyone. Everyone would just be so much happier about it, I think.
Mm-hmm. But there's a big thing about a big problem about having a child minor, no matter of their age. Let's say that only 14 to 17-year-olds are the ones that they're teaching at home. There is still a problem with having a minor at home all day on their own. There's a whole thing. Yeah, like they might just sod off or hurt themselves, because there's a whole kind of duty of care. This kind of, children go to school and there's a locus parentis thing. I can't remember quite how it's pronounced, but basically it's the school act as parent for the child while they're at school. If no one's doing that, it'd be great if we knew that kids would turn up, rock up. I'm here and ready. Great, ta-di-da, and maybe but
so many times though that like kids have a break at school. Like kids have, if we had a 50-minute break and then an hour, 45-minute hour break for lunch or whatever, and then like some people have like another 15-minute break in the afternoon if they did that 7-period day where they basically extended the day and made it longer. Like that's like, and you can't parent the kids for that like hour and a half. You know what I mean? Like that's just rubbish. Also, if there's like a 14-year-old like sat on a Zoom screen with you all day, or like with multiple teachers a day, then like they know that they're there. Do you know what I mean? Like I know they could just go because no one's there, but like I don't know, like it's kind of I think it would be enough, especially for like a 14-year-old. I understand that like younger kids, you have to, I'm not saying that we should do this for younger kids. I'm saying that this should be the high school experience or whatever. But I don't know. I just think that's rubbish. I don't think any kid's actually going to go, my parents aren't here, so I'm going to go, to Spain. Like, it's just not going to happen, So.
I know, but there's a lot of things that they might do, however.
Yeah. True.
Okay, so let us have a wee pause while I look at these questions that have been asked. So Becky Campbell, who is Sam's girlfriend, has come to the rescue as usual. Yeah. Becky has been in Spain for a few months, came back recently. Is going back to Spain to teach, and as part of her uni degree in languages. So we're excited for her for that. But of course, she's the one that knows about all these times. So first of all, school Woodmill started at 8:40. She's told you that.
So that I was right. I said about 20 to 9. Yeah, you did. I was right.
Boom. Next one, primaries. This is in Spain. Primary schools are 9 till 12 roughly, and then go back from 3 till 5. So they have a 3-hour siesta when it's the heat of the day. And then they go back. So basically it's 9 till 5 the day.
3 hours break.
3 hours.
You can never get British kids back if you get a 3 hours between. Never.
And then, but high schools have a normal day of 9 to 3 with no siesta.
9 to 3. All right. Okay.
Now, next comment that she's made is it's common for kids to be in groups too, and will alternate which day they have off as well. So they would go 4 days a week in primary. I don't know what that's in answer to. Becky, you're going to have to... Is this still in Spain?
Read it again.
It's common for kids to be in groups too, and will alternate which day they have off as well. So they would only go 4 days a week in primary.
Yeah. So like kids would be like, so you'd have like group A and group B, and group, or like probably more than that, but group A would do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and group B would maybe do like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So they'll have a day off each.
Yes.
Only in 4 days a week.
Yeah, good going. Stuart McKeon. I think that's a man. Not good, am I?
Sorry about that.
Hi, Stuart. Hi, Stuart. Says part 1. Oh, he's done a 2-parter. Part 1. Oh. I'm a dad of young kids, and I know I don't get enough sleep at night when the kids are in bed and my work is finished, as I am working from home. That's what WFH means. So they're going, what's WFH? Working from home just now. That's my time to sit and not have to be on call. So what he means is
on call from your work and for your kids, I guess.
Kids, being on call as a father. So it's good when the kids are young. Absolutely. Bedtimes are brilliant for younger children. Get them to bed at a decent time, because they can fall asleep at a reasonable hour, and get a decent night's sleep, and it gives you the evening as an adult. Yes.
But it's true. You're saying that like he doesn't get that much sleep because he needs to take that time to himself as well. Because if
I see. Sorry. Yes.
It might be, but if he is, that's quite interesting. That like he's basically saying, I think what he's saying is that like I put them to bed and then I could go to bed, but I want to take time to myself, which means he doesn't get that much sleep. If so,
absolutely. Yes, it is. So
otherwise, what he said, yourself is sleeping. You know what I mean? And that's not really any time to yourself, is it?
I know, but it's that kind of winding down. It's that conscious time, because you're just to kind of like, I just watch something on television. I know I relate to that. Just so to do something that doesn't. I know, that's me. So sorry, Stuart. Yeah, I think Sam's absolutely right there. I think he might have made another. So it's part 2. I'll sit till 12 or 1 in the morning watching telly or something just to enjoy the peace. What do you suggest to situations like that? So, yes, then what you're saying, Stuart, is that the kids are all down, and you know that you should probably be going to bed about 11 o'clock in order for you to get a decent night's sleep, so you can get up the next day and do your day all over again and be dad and be a work colleague and be a partner or whatever. But you're staying up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning watching telly, just doing something to wind down, doing something. And maybe it's actually you're exhausted, but you're not exhausted enough to be asleep because your mind's still going. I think that, working from home, working from home is quite intense as well. I don't know if you were experiencing this, Stuart, before you were going to, before you're working from home, but certainly getting out, getting some fresh air, going for a long walk might earlier on in the evening when you've finished work, and I know that's the time that the kids are having tea. It's very difficult when you're a parent to find time for yourself, particularly when children are young, and often everything you do, you're doing with them, and so the only time you get a bit of downtime for yourself is once they're having their downtime. So and I guess it's about making a choice for yourself and saying, okay, even if it's just putting your alarm on, just an alarm to tell you to go to bed, because we can just get caught up in the Netflix vortex of just watching one episode.
So easy to go down a rabbit hole. Even especially on TV as well, like not even just Netflix. Of like, do you want another episode? It's just like, if you like watching trash TV and then something else trash on, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Or if you're on YouTube, YouTube is the worst. You'll be on like one thing, and it'll be like recommend a video. You'll be like, oh my god, that one looks even more interesting. You watch that one, there's another one and another one, and then by that point it's like 2:30, and you're like, well, okay. So totally. Exactly. That's a great idea.
Exactly. The other thing is, have a nighttime routine, much the same way that we do for our kids. So, again, you might not be wearing work clothes as such if you're working from home, but have this kind of change into maybe your pajamas, get ready for bed. And so that you're not, because I find that even though I'm falling asleep in the sofa at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 9 o'clock at night, and I do go to bed, I think, all right, I'm just going to go to bed then. That's it. By the time I brush my teeth, I'm awake again. Not that I'm saying brush your teeth earlier on, but I'm saying that our bedtime routine just wakes us up sometimes. So, think about your own bedtime, think about your own relaxation, think about maybe setting an alarm to remind you to go to bed, and maybe read in bed just to take because your brain is activated and active. Yeah.
That's what got me to sleep when I was a teenager, like 13, 14. I would read and then like 2 pages in and be like falling asleep instead of watching TV. It just I don't know what it does. Reading just makes you like go, doesn't it?
It does.
Also, I don't know, like if this is a stupid one, but like if like Stuart has someone else to stay in the house, like another adult, to look after the kids, then if you're like going to bed at like late or whatever, then a late night walk is always really calming and quite peaceful. I think anyway. I don't know about anyone else, but a walk late at night when it's dark but not too cold or anything like that is quite nice. So that could also be wind down maybe or something, and also just time to yourself. I literally away from the kids as well, if you can get someone to stay there, because then you're not like in the confines of like where the kids would normally be as well. I don't know if that plays a part or whatever, but
absolutely, yeah, all those sorts of things.
Get a dog. We said that last week. Get a dog.
That's everything is a dog. There's another responsibility though, isn't it? Okay, so
that's fair, actually.
Jamie McLean says, we were supposed to do half the day in school, half the day out, where we would leave at lunch. Instead, the 5th and 6th years eat in the PE hall, but I can't play netball or badminton inside for my exam. How that works, I'll never know.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense.
It doesn't, does it? You have to eat in the PE hall. But you can't do your exam in the PE hall.
I remember Jamie telling me this. It was like, they like tried to separate the years or something like that, so they had to like take the seniors, like the 56th years, like slice them away and like put them over there. But like it's like why would you do that? Like if anything, they're the really important ones, because they're the ones that are doing their exams right now and like the really important bits. Whereas the annoying little 13-year-olds, they can just go away. Like do you know what I mean? Like they're doing lessons, but like you can go away. So like that's another thing, like you were saying earlier, like the students seem to be the last priority with these things. Like the students should be top priority, but also the students that are about to graduate and doing exams should be the main priority. Like that's just ridiculous. I found like I'm pretty sure there was another one. Someone else was saying that like we were only confined to, like we could only ever take breaks in our in like the, I can't remember what it's called now, like the senior breakout room, whatever it was called. And I was just like, how can you only go to you can't even go to like the main cafe hall? Like that doesn't even make any sense. Like I don't know why people just think, oh, you just shove the 5th and 6th years in this little like, pocket, this little bubble, but that's just unfair.
Well, there used to be a time when you'd have, when I was at school, they had something called a common room.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it
was a common room, right? And the common room was actually meant to be a privilege. So you weren't with the younger ones. You were being treated. It's like the transitioning out of school. It's like, well, you have your own special area because you're now a bit older and have more. That's kind of the meaning
what it normally is
that.
as well in our school. But then like that was the only place they could go, I think, or something like that. I can't remember who was telling me, but it's like you'd only ever go there. You couldn't even like chill. Like couldn't even like walk into the corridors. It's like you go to that bit and you stay there. And it was just like what? Like it's just so weird.
Yeah. Okay, so Belfast Boy says, I'm a full-time single father to my twin 5-year-olds after my partner passed away, and I'm the same routine as Stuart. Belfast Boy, mate, hat off to you.
Get a dog, mate.
Twins. Shut up. There'd be something else to look after. He's single, fat dad.
I know.
Twin 5-year-olds, amazing. And my heart goes out to you, having lost your partner. We're really sorry about that. And Christmas is coming, and that'll be bittersweet, I should imagine, for you all. And your routine, of course, I mean, it must be so full on. My mum died when I was 3, so my dad was a full-time single father of myself and my brother. So I do have some understanding. I don't know how it is for you, but I know what it was like for him, and it's exhausting. And yes, of course, you just want some time to yourself, but then you get to bed at 1 o'clock, and then you might be disturbed in the night as well. Let's not forget that. Just because they're little doesn't mean they sleep through the night. You wake up in the middle of the night, and there's someone else in bed with you, and they're wanting something, they're wanting to go to the toilet, they're wanting a drink, they can't sleep. You have broken sleep all the time and not enough sleep. So it's not just the teenagers, it's the adults as well. This time when they are small, I don't know if you've not said that they're small necessarily, but I'm just assuming they are. But they, it's an intense period of time, the first 10 years, I would say, until they become a little more independent and less wanting to be with you and more wanting to be in their bedrooms and self-sufficient. But yes, so again, looking after yourself, Belfast Boy, looking after yourself, and making sure that you have some kind of balance. I don't know if you have support around you and the boys can go for a sleepover. That's not been possible necessarily in the current climate. Might be more so now, just to have a night where you get, do your own thing and have an early night and a good night's sleep. But yeah, hang in there, buddy. Danny Eyes. Oh gosh, I've lost myself. Where am I? There's so many comments now. Reading before bed helps me prepare for bed. I agree, Danny. When I read a book before I go to sleep, I read the same page about every night because I fall asleep. I'm like, where did I get up to?
I find myself like not taking in the words. I've read it and I'm like, wait, I couldn't tell you what's happening on that page. I mean, and that's when you know it's time to go to bed because you're ready.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely, Danny. Reading does really help. And sometimes audiobooks are quite good as well, just to let someone else. It's that same sort of thing about being read to at night. People reading out loud is a thing, and it does help.
It's ingrained in us when we're young, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And some people weren't read to as children, and actually it's quite nice to have that. Stuart, again, lockdown has been hard on everyone. Yes, it has, Stuart. My de-stress time was the gym at my work and playing basketball, both of which are not happening. Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
And I think you're right, Stuart, is that so many things, so many of the things that we all had that were providing us with a bit of respite, a bit of back downtime, a bit of balance in our lives, a bit of me time, are just not happening at the minute. And we're struggling as a result of that. And sometimes it's about maybe finding something else in the interim, just for your sanity. The restrictions mean that there's limited things that you can do. And I know what you're saying, a de-stressor, gym, basketball for others is sports such a massive de-stressor, and also can vent your frustrations out on the in sport as well. And so to not have that is, it's massive. And just going out for a walk for some people just doesn't cut the mustard, does it? So
maybe that's like, maybe like order a couple of dumbbells or something like that off Amazon. Do you know what I mean? Just something to do in the house if you can like de-stress, because any kind of like exercise like that helps with those like chemicals that help you just like calm down and like de-stress and give you a bit more positivity and bounce and stuff like that. So like I've got a couple of dumbbells that I noticed that if I'm like, oh, I want to go to the gym, whatever, I'm just like, I'll just use them. So maybe like you can get like a foldable gym setup or something just for your little man cave. I don't know.
Yeah, buy yourself a basketball hoop.
Literally. Or get like one of the
garden.
video games. If you've got like a console, get one of the video games or something just so you get some sort of basketball fix.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie's commented again, we aren't made to wear masks for at least 20 minutes and there is no social distancing rules in the hall. So you've herding teenagers into a gym hall for 20 minutes at a time during their lunch break, where they can remove their masks in order to eat and not socially distance from each other. And then they've got to pretend the minute they go out the door, masks go on, social distancing, because COVID doesn't exist in gym halls.
Oh no,
Jamie,
no.
Apparently, that's what.
And it goes away when if anyone brings out a lunchbox, COVID goes, "Whoa, sorry, I'll step away."
Yes. Yeah. You're eating. I can see you're eating. I'll just be over here. I'll just be over here. I'll wait.
I'll just catch at the door on the way out. Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. Stuart, again, I love my role as dad, husband, job role, home owner, etc. Not having another outlet has been hard. You feel bad moaning about it because there are much worse off folk out there, but it's still hard. And I want to say, Stuart, we say this so much. There's loads of people worse off than me. It doesn't matter, Stuart. It doesn't matter that there's people worse off than you. You're being honest about how life is for you, and I think we need to validate that. And we acknowledge that, yes, you are playing a vital role as being a dad, husband, all these kinds of things. And there's a huge sacrifice. It's a huge privilege, but it's also a massive sacrifice. It's incredibly tiring. It's incredibly demanding. And yes, it's just hard keeping it all together. And part of that, and I think, men and women de-stress in different ways. And I think for men in particular, who I think do suffer silently.
And think like that a lot as well. To think that people have it worse. It's a very common thing.
And that he's in it alone. I'm the provider, I'm the dad, I'm the husband, I'm the job role, homeowner. And I know your dad's the same, is that I think there's a whole thing that men do is they pile the responsibility on themselves because there's something still that we do to boys and men about, big boys don't cry, men should be men, you're the provider, everybody, and it's so stressful for them to have to be this all singing, all dancing guy that can't show any weakness or seen as weakness, but it's not, just vulnerability and being real and not coping or just being fed up that day or that week or just can't do it anymore is actually a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. So, Stuart, yes, I know you love your role, and I'm sure you're doing a brilliant job. And I hope you're going to take some time off over Christmas and you can have and your outlets will return, or something that you can do as a healthy outlet, because there's plenty of outlets, but there's not all healthy ones. Good, thank you, Stuart, for that. Update again from Jamie. First years are made to sit outside no matter what the weather. That's just
Oh, what is the school?
it's just,
is this called school?
we'll stick the babbies out. Oh my goodness. That's horrific. Okay. Belfast boy.
I don't even know what to say about that.
No, I don't. I'm going to move on because that's terrific. Belfast boy has said, dogs too much. Lol.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I agree.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
That would just be the last straw.
You know what? A cat. They're great. They did
a cat. Thing. Yeah, that's good.
That was a joke.
And yes, they are small. Yeah, thank you, Belfast boy. That's really good. Jamie again. Yeah, she's got loads to say. Yeah, we're in the hall for the entire lunch, which is like 45 to 50 minutes long, with no masks, no open doors or windows, and people are cramped into corners. We are told that after 20 minutes we need to put our masks on or go outside and finish, but no one listens. Wow. This is what's happening in our school.
I don't even know what to say. I
know. Yeah,
that's just ridiculous.
This is a school in Glasgow, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say the name of the school.
No wonder it's in tier 4. God's sake.
I know, right?
Oh my God.
So, now help me with this, Jamie. Right? Are you in tier 4? Are you at school or are you at home? He'll answer in a minute.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
to type.
Bizarre. Okay, so that's all the comments so far, and we'll wait for updates for everybody. So I just want to, how much time do we have? We have 23 minutes.
About 10 minutes.
I thought we're never going to spread this subject out for an hour.
It's just, you see, it just happens all the time, doesn't it? It happens.
Yeah, it just happens. Brilliant. Oh yes, he is in school. So that's interesting.
That's mad.
Are you listening to this on your earphones in the school, in the class?
I know.
9 to 3 every day. Yeah. So
no, he's in the lunch hall, like.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, tier 4, right? Tier 4 sounds pretty serious to me. Tier 4, and the kids are in school still doing that in tier 4.
Surely you can have an option not to send your kids to school in tier 4, especially if that's what they're going to.
That's what's happening. Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the other thing I was saying about sleeping? I was pointing to this, wasn't I? And how, we sort of demonize the phone. It makes me laugh. Hold up your phone, Sam. Right. Sam and I got the same phone, right? Never.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you haven't got exactly the same phone, exactly the same model phone either, but we've both got iPhones. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the point I'm trying to make is there is nothing that Sam and I have the same of, except, do you know what I mean? And I think that, we demonize the phone, and we talked about this a few weeks ago. Anything in the wrong hands can be deadly and dangerous. But I think as adults, we put a lot of blame at the door of a phone when we too, I walk around the streets and I see parents and adults on their phones all the time, disconnected from their children. And, that's not the best behavior either. So with this whole kind of, we should take the phones. I know lots of parents who take their phones off their teenagers at night because they say the phone is keeping you awake, all of this messaging and things that are going backwards and forwards. And there are pros and cons about that as well. But it's, for some young people, it's a lifeline. I called this a phone, but I sometimes
barely use it for a phone.
Barely use it as a phone. It's not a phone. That's not what I use it for.
We call on like Zoom and stuff on laptops more nowadays, don't we? Zoom
Exactly.
and all that thing.
So, it's something like emails, texts. I mean, obviously, young people will use it differently from me, and we've talked about some of the reasons, in terms of Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, all of that kind of stuff. But so we have different things, applications that we load up on this that we use. Some the same, some different. But actually having connection with their friends and being able to, at 2 o'clock in the morning, reach out to somebody and say, is anyone else awake? I can't sleep. And just having a friend and someone you trust to kind of talk you down and help you to kind of, if you are anxious, to feel less anxious, if you're having intrusive thoughts, to think about something else and get distracted. So these things are possibly really important, actually, to have the phone. I'm not saying that in all cases, but it's not necessarily the reason. Sometimes not having the phone causes more sleepless nights than having it.
Yeah, like also if your kid is at school all day and then is coming home and doing 2 hours of homework per class, blah blah blah, and they finish their homework and dinner or whatever at like 8:30, 9, 10, like that may be the first time they get a chance to talk to their pals, you know what I mean, or their mates. And if that's what's keeping them up, in quotations, then like, it might be worth it. It might be the first time they actually get a chance to talk to their mates or communicate with anyone and like, have that social aspect. Because in school you're busy, you only get really break time to talk to them or stuff like that. If you're going through what Jamie's going through at lunch, you have 20 minutes and then you're out of there, that kind of stuff. So they might only be able to talk to their mates late at night on their phone. So, but another thing that I want to say as well, you talk about parents getting distracted by phones. I was in the car with my mate and he was driving and he was about to turn this corner and there was a young mother, but she was still a mother, and she had a dog on a lead and a 2-year-old, it must be a 2 or 3-year-old daughter. They come to the road and the 3-year-old had just walked out into the road, right? And I was like, you see that kid, right? And he was like, yeah, but he was turning the corner, but he was like also slowing down because he was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And like the mother was like this, the dog, and just hadn't noticed her toddler run out into a road that our car was going to go down on until we had to stop. And then she went and shouted at the toddler as if it was the toddler's fault. And I almost got out of the car and went, what the hell are you doing? Like, she was on her phone while walking her dog and her toddler. I had a dog on the leash. I would have the toddler on the leash, you know what I mean? like as well. But like the fact that the toddler was just like 10 yards ahead of her and like running out, and like, it wasn't like the mother wasn't going to walk out on the road. She was going to walk out the road as well. That our car was going to go down. And it was just like, how can you be so engrossed in your phone that you didn't notice your own daughter walk out into a road that we were going to like drive down? If I hadn't noticed it, like it might, like I don't know what was going to happen, but it was just like, how can you be that engrossed? And then they blame their kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like you're doing it. Like you're the issue here. It's just
sadly, a knee-jerk reaction for a parent when they see their child in danger is to shout
at the time.
You just kind of
no, but it wasn't even like she wasn't like a nice. She wasn't like, oh, she was like, how dare you walk it? Like I saw her like get angry at the kid, and I was like, are you seriously doing that right now? That is like that. But that poor kid, kid, like shocking.
Anyway, so as we come to the end of this podcast, we could have so much more to say. There's a Findley has asked, is that lad your son? Sorry, I'm new to this podcast, so I'm just going to say
yes.
Welcome, Findley. Finley. Yes, this is Sam. He's my 21-year-old son. We've called this podcast Parent-Teen Connection. I initially set it up as a podcast that I wanted to reach out to parents about young people, teenage mental health, children's mental health. I mean, when you think of a podcast name, you can't have a one size fits all. It's very difficult. Yeah. And although Sam is not a teenager anymore, he's still an adolescent.
And I was recently a teenager and know what it's like to, be a teenager.
And he was more recently a teenager than I was, let's put it that way. And although I work with teenagers professionally, I'm also a mum. And I thought, well, let's practice what we preach. If we've got this title, then the ultimate parenting connection should be modeled. So, Sam and I kind of know what we're going to say each week, but we don't talk to each other about it. This is the first time that we talk to each other, and so you can see how we interact with each other and how I think useful it is to have different sides and different takes on things. My hope has always been that young people would listen to this, and I'm so glad that Jamie's and Becky listen in, and I know others do as well. It's lovely to have your comments. What we can't do necessarily, although it's nice, it's okay to give tips and things, is to kind of have a counselling session for everybody.
Yeah, get free counselling.
No, it's what, do you know what I mean? It's good because I can't get involved because I'm not speaking to you. But having your little questions that you've asked, Stuart and Belfast Boy, have asked some really lovely questions, and and I think they're really, really appropriate and topical, and was happy to answer them. So, but yes, so we're here every Monday at about 10:30 for an hour, and it goes out live on YouTube, and then we go out on podcast on the normal podcasting streams, audio after that. This is us come to the end of our time. Thank you so much for listening. We hope to see you or hear from you again next week. That's us signing out. Bye bye. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.